Good morning, outdoor mystic. I'd love to start by centering this morning, and you can do what Mary Beth is doing and lay down, or you can come into a seated position. Pick what feels most comfortable for you. Gently placing your hands on your thighs and close your eyes. As we start to settle in, and notice your breath. Thinking about the rise and the fall. Noticing how each inhale and exhale feels. And think about slowing it down. And as you settle in, let the ground hold you. Feeling the weight of your body against the earth. Maybe it's just your sit bones and your legs, or it's your entire body. And that feeling that it's sinking deeper and deeper into the earth. And pranayama is breath work, and prana means life force, and yama means lengthening. So it's all about lengthening the breath and the energy and the life force in your body with each breath. As you take in a deep breath through your nose, and then let it go. And as you let it go, let your shoulders peel away from your head. And we'll take a few more deep breaths in through your nose, and let it out. And the practice of kumbhaka is when you retain breath, which is also retaining the energy in your body. So when you take a deep breath in, hold it at the top of your breath for 4, and then let it go, and retain that exhale for 4. I've often also called this box breathing, and it's almost like you're envisioning drawing the outline of a box. So you breathe in for the count of 4, and hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1, then let it go. 3, 2, 1, and then hold. 3, 2, 1, and keep repeating that, counting in, hold, and exhale, and hold. And continue at your own pace, breathing in and focusing on that kumbhaka, that retention of breath for a few seconds, and see what that feels like. See how that might allow you to soften a little bit more inside. And wherever you are, we'll take a deep breath in together and breathe it out. And then gently bring your hands to heart center. And if you were laying down, take a moment to awaken the body, maybe wiggle your fingers and your toes. And we'll all meet in a seated position. And we'll take another deep breath in together. And really sigh it out. Starting the practice with the sound of Om, we'll take a cleansing breath first. Inhale through your nose and exhale it out. And inhale for Om. And gently open your eyes and bring your hands to your knees. And I hope everyone enjoys their practice this morning. And we'll start just by taking a few kind of twists at the rotations at your hips. So inhale as you move forward and then exhale as you come back. And you can take this in both directions. So we'll start by taking it either clockwise or counterclockwise, whichever one you did. Just opening up the side body, the hips, and really use your breath. Take that inhale when you come forward and let it out when you come back. This is a nice way to let your breath move your body. And we'll come back to center and we'll take that in the other direction. Still using that inhale and that exhale. And then coming back to center. Circle sweep your arms all the way up. Palms are facing up. Nice and slowly, as though you're gathering all of the energy around you. And hold it up. And then breathe it out. And take one more inhale. And on the exhale, bring your right arm all the way down to your side and walk that right arm out. And then you can take that lovely side body stretch. Let your head go, let your shoulder go. And you might want to keep your eyes closed and just see what that feels like. Yogi's choice. An inhale walks the hand toward the body and brings that right arm all the way up. And then the exhale will take it over to the other side. Again, walking that left arm out and then taking that side body stretch. Relax your shoulder, relax your head. Blow any bugs off you. And then an inhale brings that arm back up to center. Palms come together and slowly bring them down to heart center. And we'll take a couple of twists over to each side. So take your left arm or your left hand onto your right knee, and your right arm comes behind you like a kickstand. So you can take that twist over to the right side. And use each exhale to sink just a little bit deeper into that twist. And when you come back to center, take that right arm and cross it over your left. And just see what that feels like. And then gently bring those arms up so you're taking eagle arms. And if this is uncomfortable for your shoulders, feel free to place your hands on your shoulders. And just be careful not to bring those elbows up beyond your shoulders. We're just taking a little bit of an opening here in the back and in the shoulders. And then gently unravel those arms, coming back to center. And we'll take that twist over to the other side. As your right arm comes over your left knee, your left arm comes behind you and you twist over to your left. Thinking about those exhales and how you can twist just a little bit deeper. And then take your left arm, cross it over your right. And take a breath here. And then on the inhale, bring those arms back up to eagle arms. And this time your left arm should be over your right arm. And if not, just make sure it's the opposite of what you did before. And think about where you can practice that kumbhaka, where you can take those breaths and retain that breath, even if it's just for a second or two. And then unravel those arms, shake it out, shake out the wrists. And then open your hands and close them. These are really good exercises just to do every day to help your wrist, because in yoga we do tend to spend some time on our wrists. I try in my classes to balance it a bit so you don't feel that pressure too much, but it's still good to shake it out. And we'll transition into tabletop. And I'd love you to focus on your shoulders being directly over your wrists and your knees are underneath your hips. Flat back. And as you inhale, drop your belly toward the earth and then gently lift your head up. And then as you exhale, bringing that belly button and arching it toward your spine, and then your head is the very last thing to come down. And take a few of those cat-cows or arches and curls and really exaggerate the movements. And use your breath to move you. And maybe even invite the sounds from around the field and the birds and the breeze, and experience these movements in this amazing outdoor setting. And we'll take 2 more of these arches and curls as you exhale and bring the belly button toward the spine. And then one more time. Inhale as you drop your belly. And exhale. And then coming back to center, still keeping your wrists under your shoulders and your knees under your hips, take your toes and curl them. But this time we're not going to lift all the way up to a downward dog. We're going to lift the knees up just an inch off the mat and hold it. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it down. Uncurl your toes and just hit them against the mat. Just slap those feet. And we'll do it one more time, curling the toes. This is to really wake up the core. 1 inch off the mat for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This time, press your hips up to the sky into downward facing dog. And in your downward dog, just start to pedal it out if that feels good. Maybe you alternate and bring one heel down each time. An opportunity to maybe come all the way up onto both your tippy toes and then bend your knees, pressing your chest toward your thighs. And then slowly starting to straighten those knees, bringing the heels just a little bit closer to the mat. Rolling your shoulder blades down your back, pulling those elbows in just a little bit. Really feeling probably your first downward dog of the day. And really let your head go. Let your head go, let your neck go, soften it, shake it yes, shake it no. And when you're ready, bend your knees, look forward, and step to the top of your mat into a forward fold. And this is another great opportunity to really let the head go, let the shoulders go. You might want to start by really bending your knees and then slowly straightening them, bringing your chest closer to your thighs. Maybe your hands are in ragdoll where you cup each elbow with the opposite hand. And this is a really nice opportunity just to rock from side to side. I tell a lot of my friends that whenever you're feeling anything during the day, it could be anxiousness or stress, just take a forward fold. Take a forward fold and just let it be. And feel as though all the contents that are in your head are just flowing out. Placing your hands on your thighs as you slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time. With your head, the last thing to come up, circle sweep those arms all the way up. And as your palms come together, hinge at the hips and forward fold. Inhale brings you into a halfway lift. Taking that halfway lift, taking a moment to just place your fingertips on your shin. And the idea here is to have a flat back. And if that means you need to bend your knees slightly, which I definitely need to. And then the crown of your head is pointing towards the front of your mat, your hips towards the back of the mat. It's a very active pose, but we often tend to rush through it in a chaturanga. So I like to stop just for one halfway lift so we can see what it feels like. And then exhale, let it go into a forward fold. And then an inhale rolls you up. Circle sweep those arms, palms come together, hinge at the hips, and forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, plant those palms, and step back into plank position. And really think about squeezing your glutes. Bring those hips up. And think about bringing up the lower abdomen. Pressing your heels towards the back of your mat. And we'll take a deep breath in. And when you exhale, sorry, lower halfway down. Uncurl your toes into upward facing dog. And then into downward facing dog. Wow. I think I swallowed grass. Sorry about that. If you could see how much grass was on my mat, you'd know why. So we're in downward facing dog. We'll take that one more time. Bend your knees, look to the top of your mat, and walk into a forward fold. Slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time, and really take those arms all the way up, taking a moment to look at the sun, and then hinge at the hips in forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Plant those palms and step back. And then this time, as you take your deep breath in, you can either lower halfway down like you did before, or you can drop your knees down, shoelace sides of the feet on the mat, and slowly lower down all the way. Pressing yourself up, opening up your chest into baby cobra, squeezing the shoulder blades together, and exhale lowers you down. Curl your toes and press yourself back up into a push-up and then downward facing dog. So those are the two versions of a chaturanga that you can take. And it's yogi's choice, and it depends on how you feel. You might want to alternate. And we'll take a deep breath in here and let it go. And inhale, draws your right leg up to the sky. Exhale, knee to chest. And then step that right foot through to the inside of your right hand so you're in a runner lunge. And really think about this runner lunge. Maybe use some blocks if you like to use blocks and stabilize. I'm seeing if anyone has any today. Yes. Think about pressing into that back left heel and that back ball of your foot. And we're going to take a twist over to the right. So press your left hand into the mat or into your block, your right hand on your hip, and then you can draw that right arm up to the sky if that feels comfortable for you. Really think about taking this twist from your rib cage. So check that left hip hasn't come down toward the mat. Just bring it up slightly. And let's take a few arm openings. So take your arm and just open it up nice and wide, circling that arm. And we'll circle it in one direction. And then we'll circle it in the other direction. And then bringing that arm up just one more time. And then draw it down back into your runner lunge. Hands on your hips as you slowly come up. And then bring the back heel down to the mat so that you're in a warrior one. Now your toes might, depending on how you like to be in your warrior one, your hips are facing forward. Maybe your toes are at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. See what works for you. Open your arms up to a T. Really think about that opening. Turn the palms towards the back of the mat. And then bring those arms all the way. And you can either interlace your fingers or put your hands in your back pocket. So if it's really hard to interlace your fingers, I often suggest that you kind of pretend like you have back pockets, and you can still get that incredible chest opening. Really puff out your chest. And we'll slowly hinge at the hips as you come forward, and we'll humble that warrior, but we'll take it in a flow. So humble that warrior, let your head go, and then draw it back up. Taking breaths as you do it. Inhale and exhale. Think about using your core and pressing both of your feet into the mat as you hinge at the hips and take this flow. And we'll take the hinge at the hips one more time, and then we'll lower it down, and we'll just humble that warrior, keeping that position. Really using your core here. Let your head go. And then slowly come back up. And then take your hands out of your back pocket or separate your fingers and really shake out your arms. And then turn that back foot back so that it's facing forward. And you come back into that that runner lunge. Walk your hands to your left. I'm going to do it a different way so I'm facing you guys. Walk your hands to your left so then you're in like a wide-legged forward fold. There you go. And we'll take some side lunges. So just sinking deep into that right leg and that left leg. And it might even feel good to go into a skandasana where you bring the toes up each time. And it might feel good to hold that static hold just for a few breaths on each side. Yogi's choice to see what you need. And then we'll turn it back into that runner lunge. Step the right foot back into a three-legged dog and bend the knee and open up the hip. And rotate the ankle in one direction and then in the other. Straighten your knee, square your hips, and then gently bring the right leg down into downward facing dog. And we'll take 2 breaths here. And if you want to come down to your knees before we take it over to the other side, do what you need to do. If you took in some grass and need some water, that was awful. Look at my mat, right? And when you're ready, we'll come back into that downward facing dog. And inhale as you lift that left leg up to the sky. Exhale, knee to chest. And then step that left foot through into your runner lunge. And again, finding that runner lunge where you have stability in both of your feet. Maybe bring your blocks in, pressing into the ball of that back right foot. And we'll take a twist over to the left, pressing your right hand either into the mat or into your block, left hand on your hip. Twisting from the rib cage. Maybe that left arm comes all the way up. And check that right hip, maybe just lift up your right hip just a little bit. There's a tendency to kind of make it go down like that. Take it up. And we'll take those arm openings, circle those arms. This time it's your left arm in one direction. And then the other direction. Coming back to center. Bring your hands to your hips as you slowly come up, bringing that back foot, that back heel down into warrior one. And this time your toes might be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Just feel that warrior one. Open up your arms, palms facing the back of the mat, and interlace your fingers or put them in your back pocket. And we'll take that same warrior one flow that we did on the other side, thinking about your core. Bring up that lower ab a little bit. Really bend into that front left knee, and then slowly hinge at the hips. Let your head go and take that flow as you bring it up. Your legs stay where they are. You're using your upper body and your core to create this flow. Humbling your warrior and bringing it back up. And we'll take that 2 more times. And on this last one, we will hold that humble warrior. Maybe see if you can even bring it down just a little bit lower. Let your head go. And inhale draws you back up. And take your hands out of your back pockets or separate your fingers and shake it out. And then turn that foot so that your toes are facing completely forward. You come into that runner lunge and walk your hands to the right. As we take those lunges one more time. Maybe this time you decide that you want to just take a wide-legged forward fold, where you can just kind of take a very static hold, pressing your chest towards your thighs. Maybe those toes come up with each lunge. And then coming back to center, walk your hands toward your left foot to the front of the mat so that you're in that runner lunge. Step that left foot to the back into a 3-legged dog. Bend your knee, open up your hip here. Make sure that your weight is evenly distributed in both of your arms. There's a tendency here to dump all the weight into your right side. Rotate the ankle in both directions. You guys look great. And then straighten the knee, square your hips, and lower that left leg down to the mat. And then bring your knees down. Open up your knees just a little bit, separating your knees. Your 2 big toes come together. And just start to get into a child's pose. Maybe take a moment, instead of just pressing back, maybe just start to wiggle into it a little bit. And then as you press back, walk your hands down the mat. And then if it feels comfortable, pressing your forehead into the mat. Maybe even feeling that gravitational pull towards the earth. Thinking about your breath. Using the exhale to send and soften your body. And for some of us, it might be more comfortable to have our knees more together when you press back into child's pose. So play around with that to see what feels right for you. And then walk the hands closer to your body as we start to come out of the child's pose. Bring your knees together. And we're back in tabletop. Curl your toes, press yourself back up into downward facing dog. Taking a deep breath in and letting it out. And inhale, lifts that right leg all the way up to the sky. Exhale, knee to chest, and then step that right foot through into a runner lunge. And this time we'll repeat that sequence going a little bit faster. So we're going to take a twist over to our right hand on your hip, draw that right arm up to the sky. Think about that twist from your rib cage. Drawing the right arm back down, hands go on your hips as you bring yourself up. Lower that back heel down to the mat into a warrior one. Open up your arms. Yogi decides how you want to bring yourself into that chest opening, and then lower it down, hinging from the hips as you humble the warrior and take that flow. And we'll do it 2 more times. And on this last one, hold it down. Maybe think about sinking just a little bit lower. And then using your core to bring you back up. Separate your fingers, shake out your arms. Turn that back heel so it's facing towards your mat. Come down into runner lunge, and then walk your hands to the left as you open up and take those side lunges. Again, this time you might decide that you want to take a wide-legged forward fold. You do you. And then we'll walk the hands back towards the front of the mat into that runner lunge. Step that right foot all the way up. Bend your knee, open up the hip, rotate the ankle. And then on the inhale, straighten that leg, square your hips, and bring that right leg down towards your mat. And we'll take 2 deep breaths here and let it go. 1 more deep breath in and out. And inhale brings that left leg up to the sky. Exhale, knee to chest. Step it through into that runner lunge, and we'll take a twist over to the left. Pressing your right hand into the mat or into your block, left hand on your hip, and then start to take that twist from your ribcage and bring that left arm up to the sky if it feels good. Drawing that left arm back down toward the mat, hands on your hips as you slowly come up. Bring that back heel down to the mat into a warrior one. Open up the arms, deciding how you want to open up your chest, and hinging at the hips and humbling that warrior. Really thinking about using your core to bring you up and down. And we'll do 2 more. And on this last one, hold it. Really bend into that front left knee and see if you can use your core to lower yourself down just a little bit more. And then slowly bring yourself up. Shake out those arms. Turn that heel so it's facing forward. You come back into that runner lunge. Walk the hands to your right. And you can take those lunges or skandasanas or a wide-legged forward fold. Again, a great opportunity to just take in those, square your hips, and then slowly draw that left leg down toward the mat. And bring your knees down. And if you can, if you're able to sit back, I usually need to use a block, but if you can sit back onto your heels, if that's comfortable for you, if it's not, sit on a block like me. And we're just going to take a moment here to just see how that feels in your body. Maybe slow it down a bit, taking a deep breath in and letting it go. And then if you used a block, remove that block. And if you didn't, or you did, come back to tabletop. And we'll curl our toes and press back up into downward facing dog. But this time we're going to walk your hands toward the back of the mat, towards your feet. And slowly roll up, one vertebra at a time. And we'll take mountain pose. Your arms are by your side, and think about pressing all four corners of your feet into the mat. Maybe lift up all 10 toes and then press them down. And there's a slight bend in your knees, drawing your tailbone down. Relax your shoulders, close your eyes. And feel as though the crown of your head is opening up to the sky. And this is an incredible kind of foundational pose, Tadasana or mountain pose. And you can always come back to this. You can always come back to child's pose. This is also a great way to start any standing balancing poses, which is what we're going to do next. Because you want to think about grounding your feet before you decide to take a standing balancing pose. So we'll first start by putting all of the weight into your right leg and your right foot. So remember what it feels like for your foot to just be really grounded. And then bringing your hands to heart center, slowly bring your left leg up. So you're bringing your knee toward your chest and you're flexing your left foot. And then take your fingers, interlace them, and press them into your thigh. And use that resistance. So you're pressing your hands down, pushing your thigh down, but your thigh is pushing up. So really thinking about that resistance, using that standing leg to keep you nice and steady. Everyone looks great. And then bringing your hands back to heart center, slowly bring that left leg toward the back of your mat or towards the grass, depending on which way you're facing, into a warrior 3. And maybe you bring that left leg straight out behind you, coming down almost to like a T. Maybe your arms come behind you and your palms are facing down an airplane. Relax your shoulders. Think about that standing leg. Even if it's shaking, that means you're building up more strength. And then slowly lower that back foot down and open up into a warrior 2. So in your warrior two, your right leg and your right arm are facing in the same direction. And that left back foot, you really want to turn onto the outer edges. Relax your shoulders. Taking a deep breath in and letting it out. Transitioning into side angle, taking your right forearm, coming down and pressing that right forearm into your right thigh. And your left hand can be on your hip, or you can draw it all the way up to the sky. And think about bending that front right knee. Maybe look down and see if your right knee is directly over your ankle. Can you do that? And if not, just see how far you can get. You might need to take a little bit of a wider stance. And then draw that upper arm all the way down to meet your right. And turn so that you're facing the front or the back of your mat, depending on where you are. And you're back in that runner lunge. Drop that back knee down. And we'll start to just press back so that your toes come up. And you press your chest toward your thigh. And then make it this kind of motion. And then bring it forward. And when you bring it forward, walk that front foot forward a little bit so you're not bringing your knee over your toes. And then bring it back. Taking this forward and back motion. Stretching that right hamstring. And then that left quad. And we'll take that one more time. And then when you come back and you're pressing back into your hips and your toes are up, see if you can bring your chest just a little bit closer to your thigh. And maybe even let your head go. That looks great. And then we'll come back up to center. Bring that back knee up off the mat. So you're in a runner lunge. Thinking about putting all of the weight into that right leg. Pressing your hands into your right thigh. And then start to bring that back left foot up. So we're back into that warrior three. Straightening that standing leg. Maybe bringing your hands up to heart center. Flexing that back left foot. And then slowly come up. See if you can keep on that one standing leg. And as you slowly come up, bend that knee back up to where we started. Interlace the fingers, pressing into your thigh. Oh, is it not? Yeah, because we started, but with all the weight in our right leg, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah? Okay, good. I am the queen of messing that up. So. And then gently bring that left leg back down and really shake it out. And let's take some empty coat sleeves. Just take some nice twists. Maybe your hands slap around your back. And then we'll slowly find an ending to that. Coming back to center, and we'll take that sequence onto our left leg. Again, thinking about that foundation, pressing all four corners of your left foot into the mat. And it is harder on the grass to balance, so I think you guys are doing really well. So pressing all four corners, start to put the weight into your left leg. Bring that right leg up to your chest. Interlace your fingers. And try that resistance. Try to press that thigh down with your hands, but your thigh is constantly pushing back up. And relax your shoulders when you do this. And then whatever works for you, if you want to bring your hands to heart center, we're going to slowly bring that leg to the back of the mat. And if you want to stop and come into a warrior three, maybe your arms come back into airplane, palms are facing down. Relax your shoulders. Amazing. 2 more breaths. And then bring that back leg down and open up into a warrior two on the left side. This time really pressing into the outer edges of your right back foot. Seeing how deep you can bend into that left front knee. As long as you do the other side. Transitioning into side angle, bringing that left forearm and pressing it into your left thigh. Really feeling that opening in the right part of your upper chest, using your core to hold you up. You should be able to take your arm away and see what that feels like, because then you're using your core and it's holding you up. And we'll take a deep breath here. And on the exhale, draw that right arm back down towards the left and turn that back foot towards the front of your mat so that you're in a runner lunge. Drop that back knee down. And then start to take those movements where you're pressing back into your hips. And this time it's your left toes coming up. And you might need to walk that left foot forward a little bit, so that when you press forward and you're getting that really nice stretch in the right quad, this left knee is not going beyond your left toes. And we'll take that 2 more times. And on the last one, bring those toes up if you can, and see if you can just press your chest towards your left thigh just a little bit and let your head go. And we'll come back up to center. Bring that back right knee up off the mat so you're back into that runner lunge. Thinking about putting all the weight into that left leg, bringing your hands, both of your hands, onto your left thigh, and slowly start to bring that back right leg up into a warrior three. Maybe your hands come to heart center. And I love feeling how my standing leg is like shaking like crazy, because you know that that's working to strengthen it. And then slowly come up, keeping that right leg up off the mat if you can, and then come back into that original, pressing the thigh down toward the mat. And let it go. Amazing. And we'll shake it out. Let's take those empty coat sleeves. And we're going to do one other really fun thing that I saw Erin do. And she called it starfish, and I really liked it. So we're going to try a little starfish here. So from your standing position, just circle sweep your arms all the way up. Palms come together. Hinge at the hips and forward fold. And then this time, walk your hands to the front of your mat and come into plank position. And in your plank position, take your left knee, bring it to your chest, and then take that left foot and bring it all the way over to the right side of the mat. There you go. And then pressing with your left hand into the mat, bring your right arm all the way up to the sky or to your right hip. And for a modification, you can bring that left knee down or that left leg down to the mat. So you're still doing the same pose. It's just you're supporting yourself with that left knee. So this is a kind of variation of a side plank. And then draw that right arm back down towards the mat. Bring your left knee into your chest and then press it back into plank. And we'll take a moment here. Just feel that out in your body. Maybe press back into downward facing dog and forward into plank a couple of times. And then when you're ready, bring your right knee to your chest and then take that right leg and bring it all the way through to the left side of the mat. Press your right arm into the mat and then open up into that side plank. And again, you can drop that right knee down. And then lowering that left arm back down to the mat, bringing your right knee into your chest, press it out, and let's hold this plank. And let's hold it for 1, 2, 3, squeeze your glutes, 4, and last one, 5. Bring your knees down to the mat, press yourself back into child's pose, and just take a moment. And when you're ready, finding your way, walking your hands towards your body, finding your way into a seated position. Take your time. There is no rush. If you want to stay in child's pose, you absolutely can. And then once you've found yourself into your seated position, bring your feet out in front of you. And coming up, feel as though you're lengthening your back upward. Then start to bring your chest forward toward your thighs into a forward fold. So coming up first and then bringing your chest down. And just taking that forward fold, taking it to where you need it to go. Maybe you're holding onto your ankles or your shins or your feet. And then drawing yourself back up nice and slowly. Bring your right knee into your chest. And you can either keep it here or you can cross it over as we take a seated twist. Your right arm will come behind you. I was going to mirror, but I'm not going to now. Right arm comes behind you. Wrap the left arm around your right thigh and take that twist over to the right. And with every twist, think about how you can deepen it with each exhale. And see where you can relax other parts of your body. Maybe you can relax your shoulders, soften your jaw. And we'll come back to center. Nice and slowly. Unravel that right leg, straighten it out, and then bring your left knee into your chest. And again, you can keep it here. That's a great way of doing it, or you can cross it over. Left arm comes behind you like a kickstand, and wrap that right arm around your left leg. And just notice if when you're in these poses, if you tend to tighten a certain area. A lot of us in twists tend to bring our shoulders up, and just relax them down. Use your exhale to soften any part of your body inside. And coming back to center, unravel that leg. And if you're facing like me, turn around so that you can get the length of your mat so that we can come onto our backs. And I really love to, instead of just flopping onto my back, press your feet into the mat, bring your arms out in front of you, and then slowly lower yourself down. Thank you for your heads facing the camera. Lower all the way down, and as you come down, draw your legs down the mat, but bring your right knee into your chest for a wind removing pose. Maybe rotate the ankle in one direction and then the other. And then with your left hand over your right knee, gently bring that right leg toward the left so we can take a twist. And then if it feels comfortable to open up your arms to a T, or you can keep your left hand on your knee to kind of keep that resistance. And if you need to bring your left leg up to meet your right leg, that might feel more comfortable. And ensure that both of your shoulders are pressing into the mat. There's a tendency for that right shoulder to come up. And if it does, just back that top leg back just a little bit. And come back to center and bring both of your knees into your chest. And then just rock from side to side, massaging the lower back. And then draw that right leg down the mat. Left knee presses into your chest for a wind removing pose on the left side. Again, rotating that ankle if it feels really good. And then gently bring your left knee over to your right, maybe using your right hand to do that. So you can take that twist over to the other side. And it might feel good to open up both your arms to a T. Maybe bring that right leg to meet the left leg. And coming back to center, drawing that left leg down the mat. Maybe squeeze both of your legs into your chest again and rock from side to side. Maybe give yourself a really, really big squeeze before you completely let go and prepare for Shavasana. Maybe you take one last pose. It might feel really good to go into happy baby like some of you have. It's a great idea. Maybe taking an inversion where you take a little waterfall where your legs are straight up to the sky. Maybe your arms come up too. And when you're ready, close your eyes. And open up your legs just a little bit wider than your mat if that feels good. Really let your feet flop open. Arms are by your side, your palms are facing up. And feel as though your entire front body is melting into your back body. And then your back body is melting into the earth. And as it gravitates and pulls toward the earth, where can you soften? Soften your legs, soften your hips, relax your arms and your shoulders. And let your jaw go. Soften your eyes. There's an excerpt from Longfellow that's called "The Tide Rises and the Tide Falls." And the excerpt allows you to imagine the breath and also retain that breath and retain the life energy with each pause in the excerpt. The tide rises, the tide falls. The twilight darkens, the curlew calls. Along the sea sands, damp and brown, the traveler hastens toward the town. And the tide rises, and the tide falls. Taking a deep breath in together and letting it go. And again for an inhale. And breathe it out. And gently start to awaken the body. Maybe you wiggle your fingers or your toes. Bring those arms up overhead for a full body stretch. And maybe you really like to bring your knees into your chest and rock them from side to side. Starting to awaken the lower back. And when you're ready, roll over onto one side. And maybe even cradle your head into your arm. And then pressing yourself up into a seated position with hands at heart center. If you want to stay in a reclined position, it's totally up to you. Stay exactly where you are. And we'll close the practice with the sound of Om. And we'll take a cleansing breath first. Inhale. And exhale. And an inhale for Om. And the light and the love in me is with one, with the light and love in each of you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Sorry for that coughing crazy fit. Thank you, Facebook.